You see a name, a photo, a piece of news, an update, and before you even have time to think about what it is, that question moves through you. Why is it like that for them and not like this for me? Maybe it's a coworker, maybe someone who started from the same place you did, maybe an acquaintance you haven't seen in years. Their life looks like it has picked up speed, while yours seems to be standing in the same spot. And once that comparison enters your mind, going back to your own day isn't as easy as it was. You feel bad about it because you don't wish that person any harm. You genuinely want good things for them, but some part of you is still measuring, and the measuring doesn't stop. For years, you've been told this is a confidence problem. You don't love yourself enough, you don't value yourself enough, and that's why you compare. So the answer was always sought in the same place: a little more self-confidence, a little more self-affirmation, a little less time in that app. Maybe it worked for a while, but then you ended up right back where you started. Because comparison comes on the days you feel confident too. Sometimes it comes at the very moment you think things are going well, and that tells you this is not simply about what you think of yourself. Because comparison isn't really a confidence problem, it's an attention problem, and Scripture doesn't explain this with a piece of advice. It shows you a scene. By the end of this video, you'll see why comparison enters your life at exactly the moments it does, and you'll know where to turn your eyes back to. Here's what I want to show you. Comparison isn't dangerous because it makes you feel bad. It's dangerous because it stops you. The moment your head turns, your feet stop moving. This scene takes place at the very end of John's Gospel, after the resurrection, a morning by the lake. The disciples have fished all night and caught nothing. Jesus is waiting on the shore, a fire already burning, and they eat breakfast together. Then Jesus turns to Peter, and there's something important we need to understand here, because the weight of this scene comes from it. Peter is the man who denied Jesus 3 times only days earlier, and Jesus asks him 3 times, "Do you love me?" After each answer, he gives him work to do. Feed my lambs, take care of my sheep. This is not a scolding, it is a restoration. The man who fell is lifted back up and handed real responsibility. But Jesus doesn't stop there. He also tells Peter about his own future. He says that when Peter was young, he went where he wanted, but when he is old, he will stretch out his hands and be led where he does not want to go. The text plainly says this indicated the kind of death by which Peter would glorify God. So that morning, Peter receives 2 things at once: forgiveness and a heavy road. And Jesus ends with these words, "Follow me." And it is at exactly this point that Peter turns around. That's how the text puts it. Peter turns and sees the disciple whom Jesus loved following behind them. And he asks, "What about him?" When you hear that question, stop for a moment and look at its timing. Peter asks it right after hearing his own calling, right after learning how costly his own road will be. With that heavy word still fresh in his hands, he lifts his eyes and looks at someone else. Jesus' answer is both sharp and surprisingly simple. He tells him, "If I want him to remain, what is that to you? You follow me." Notice that Jesus does not answer Peter's question. He doesn't explain John's road. He doesn't debate whose path is easier or whose path is worth more. He does only one thing. He repeats the command he gave a moment ago, as if what Peter needed was not an explanation, but a correction of direction. Now bring that turn into the present. There's no lakeshore anymore. There's a phone in your hand, or a meeting room, a schoolyard, a family table, and you turn too. You just give it other names. I was only curious. I'm just looking. I want to learn how they did it. Sometimes that's genuinely true, but most of the time, that glance is the politest way of taking your eyes off the work in front of you. Consider someone. For years, they've been in a hard season, maybe caring for a sick relative, maybe rebuilding everything after a collapse, maybe trying to stay faithful in work no one ever sees. One morning, just as they're about to shoulder the weight of that day, they see how far someone who started in the same place has come. In that moment, the work in their hands doesn't change, only the strength to do it quietly drains away. And you need to hear this. This isn't proof that you're a bad person. Peter did the same thing. He did it standing in front of Jesus, on the very morning he was forgiven. Comparison doesn't come from an absence of love. It comes from attention naturally drifting sideways. But there's a deeper layer here, one you don't see at first. And without it, this whole matter stays a piece of habit advice. Remember the timing of Peter's question. That question didn't come out of nowhere. It came the moment his own calling became clear. And that says something uncomfortable about comparison. Most of the time, it doesn't arrive because we think too little of ourselves. It arrives because our own portion has grown heavy. Because looking at someone else's road is the quietest way to postpone your own. The moment you start measuring, you stop obeying, and you don't even notice it happening. Your mind is busy, even tired, but your feet haven't moved an inch. Comparison gives you the feeling of doing something, when the only thing you're doing is standing still. This also explains why Jesus' answer wasn't an explanation. What Peter had lost wasn't information, it was direction. Understanding this is not the same as living it. So let's make it practical. 3 steps. First, notice the turn. Comparison is not a vague feeling. It enters at a specific moment, from a specific place. Where does it enter your life the most? Is it an app, a particular person, a recurring thought? Name it. Because you can't stop a habit you haven't named. Peter's turn was a physical movement. So is yours. A scroll, a glance, a sentence. Then, don't argue with the feeling. When comparison comes, most people try to fight it. I shouldn't feel this. This isn't right. I'm not that kind of person. That fight keeps you there longer. Jesus didn't debate Peter's feelings with him. He gave him a direction. Do the same. At that moment, write down or say to yourself one single sentence. What is the next piece of work that has actually been given to me? And third, turn that sentence into a small step the same day. One message, a 10-minute task, a phone call, one page. The goal isn't to free yourself from comparison, it's to get back to your own work. Because attention doesn't return by being persuaded, it returns by being used. And most of the time, once you've taken that small step, you notice the sound of comparison has quieted on its own. There are 2 misunderstandings here, and we need to guard against both. The first, this does not mean don't care about anyone, just look after yourself. Jesus' words are not a call to coldness. The same scripture teaches us to rejoice with those who rejoice, to carry one another's burdens, to value others above ourselves. Peter and John went on walking together after this scene. What's refused here isn't loving someone else. It's the measuring that suspends obedience. The second, this is not a promise of success. The comfort here is not mind your own road and yours will turn out better. Quite the opposite. In the text, Peter's road is heavier than the road of the man he compared himself to. Jesus isn't offering him an easier life. He's offering a clearer command and his own presence. The cure for comparison isn't the hope that your story will shine brighter. It's remembering whose steps you're following. So for this week, I'll ask one thing of you. Choose the single place where comparison enters your life the most. Just one. For 7 days, every time that feeling shows up, don't argue with it. Instead, write one sentence. Here is the next piece of work that has been given to me. And that same day, turn that sentence into one small step. One place, one sentence, one step, 7 days. By the end of the 7 days, comparison may not have gone silent, but you will have become someone who doesn't stop at every turn. And that is a far greater change than it looks. Remember that morning one last time. Peter never received an answer to his question. Jesus didn't explain John's road to him, and he doesn't explain it to us either. Why someone else's life looks the way it does, why it seems to move more easily or more quickly, was never information given to us. What we were given is simpler and far more solid. The same command, spoken again, you follow me. The road beside yours will always be there. The urge to turn your eyes will always come, but the path in front of you is still yours. And that path can only be walked with your face turned forward. If you'd like to keep understanding Scripture this way, staying faithful to the text while it touches everyday life, subscribe for the next lesson. And before we finish, I'll leave you with one question. Whose road do you turn your head toward the most? And what is that turn keeping you from doing?